Alright guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So, it's the beginning of May, and I think it's time for us to do a little garden update. So let's go take a look around, see what we got growing, see what's popping up. Alright guys, so here's two of our peach trees. We're going to get close here. You can see they're starting to fruit. Now these are semi-dwarfs, and I've been really keeping them clean on the lower branches because I want them to go up to get above that roof line and be able to grab more light. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of thinning in order to get them to where they need to be, and then I need to do some work around the ground by them. But yeah, they're starting to fruit up nicely, so we're gonna have some peaches this year. Now you guys may remember our video about our raspberry beds we put in. These guys are doing quite well, honestly. Got a few weeds to pull, but they're definitely coming right along. Now these are Missy's babies. These are our thornless blackberry plants. They're a little slow this year because we keep getting these little rebounds of frost. But as you can see, they're ready to go. They show no signs of stopping. They are thick this year. Really beautiful plants. The grapes seem to be trying to come through. So they may pull it off this year. Generally they have rough years every year, but every year they get a little stronger and do a little better. This might be the year that they actually make full-size fruit. Last year it was a little small. They're trying. They're trying hard. So this is our strawberry patch, one of our beds. We just got done weeding it out. I threw some coffee grounds and some eggshells, some other things in here. I've still got to mulch it, but they're already starting to get blooms on them, and we're in the beginning of May. So hopefully we're gonna have a decent crop this year. We've got a cold front that just hit us. We're gonna have a week of pretty cold temperature, so we're trying to cover things up, but these strawberries never get much love. Them poor things, they just keep going. And we've actually given a lot of these away because they're the smaller strawberries, so they usually set on a decent little crop. But my granddaughter loves them. She comes out here and plays in them. They don't even get a lot of light, but they still produce enough to keep her happy. So really that's all that matters. So it looks like our neighborhood groundhog that's eating the underneath out, or digging the underneath out, I should say, of our garage has been coming over and chewing on our comfrey plants. Now this is the Balking 14 variety that doesn't multiply by itself. It's sterile. So you actually have to pull these up and cut the root balls and, you know, separate them out. From your guys' view, you only see these, but there's actually more to the row back there. We do pretty much a chop and drop or a tea with these to fertilize all our other plants. But I've really gotten into comfrey, and we're going to expand on this heavily this year. I just, like anything else, you got a bunch on your plate, you got to prioritize. They're coming up though, I got no complaints. Alright, so I need to explain what we're doing here. This is an experiment on these. So I'll walk you through exactly what we're doing here. So if we come down here, you can see we've got peas planted, okay? But that's not a pea, that's a weed. But what we've got planted in between is radishes and turnips, depending upon which row. And we're trying to kind of sister them together and see how they do and how they grow. And so far it seems to be working okay, but the long-term results, there you can really see a good version of what we're doing here. And as they grow, we'll push them back onto the fence. Like I said, this have all been slowed because we had a bunch of late frosts come in. We're still dealing with them. But you can kind of see what we're trying to do here. So those of you that know, these were my babies. These are the Amish Paste tomatoes. They're kind of like a Roma tomato. I got them from M.I. Gardner. I started them inside under LEDs, and we planted them, and the forecast looked beautiful, and then this huge cold front that lasted like a week blew in. So my gamble to put them out about a week and a half early didn't pay off. That said, Missy and me have been covering them every single night where it's going to get cold. They were already cold hardened off, but they're not liking it. They're surviving. They're not thriving though at all. So basically we just keep covering them, get through the next week, and hopefully everything will turn out okay. They're still pretty strong. They're not dried out. They're not cracking. They're just wilty. It's kind of to be expected. The ones that are a little lower to the ground are much greener and prettier. So I think that at least half the crop's gonna make it, if not more. But we'll just keep taking care of them. That's all you can do really when you're in this situation. That's why you shouldn't plant in Ohio until after Mother's Day, and even then you gotta watch the weather. But in Ohio, the weather changes like a light switch, so you do the best you can and keep going. All right, so these onion sets have got about 4 weeks, 5 weeks on them. And then you see these ones have about 2.5 weeks on them. So Misty's pretty much refined her onion growing this year really tight. Basically every 2 weeks she's been setting sets, and we're just gonna build up so that we're constantly pulling onions at different times of year. Normally we just do a big set and call it done and pull them as we need them. We're kind of trying to do it a little different this year, and I think she's got it under control now. We're gonna probably have to expand next year because we've been using a lot more onions in our cooking. But she definitely is off to a killer start. Okay guys, this is our asparagus bed. Like a lot of things around here, it doesn't get the maintenance it really deserves, but it still produces no problem. One thing that's nice about this bed is these are some old sets, so when they grow pretty big. But you can see, come out here and start picking, and it's just on. My granddaughter will pick these and eat them before I get back to the house, so I can't let her come pick them because I don't get any if I do. We're going to expand on this bed, reframe it, double its width, and add in a bunch of new sets this year. I got some other projects I got to do first. But I tried to buy more sets today and my wife stopped me because I don't have time to put them in the ground. Never stops. I better pick the rest of these. Alright, so this is our blueberry plants. Now we just cleaned this bed up. So they're just starting to kind of really come back. They never really produce that great, to be honest. But as we improve the soil, they'll do better. Just got to give them time. So this has got to look different to a lot of you guys because you know that we use the back to Eden method where we do chips. This garden I let go back to seed, back to grass basically. And with the time frame we had, we weren't going to be able to get it softened up enough to grow a good crop. I don't like to till, but my dad has a tractor tiller and it was just going to be faster. Also had just gotten a bunch of chips in. So we filled this thing with a block of peat, a bunch of these chips, which is just straight out of the chipper chips, but we pulled most of the big stuff out of it. And then I had probably 2 5-gallon buckets of sand we put in it, and probably about 40 to 50 of gallons of worm castings, like a compost that's been in my worm bin. So we pulled all that out, threw it down here, tilled it in, and then I added the sand and we tilled it in. And now we're just letting it set to dry out for the final time, and then we're going to hit it one more time and cover the whole thing up with a new load of chips that just came in. Now when I do that, I will have to actually fertilize the rows with an organic fertilizer and probably a fish fertilizer to start my plants, because this is going to be beans this year pretty much exclusively. Not something we like to do, but sometimes it comes that you have to do this to jump your garden forward. Now you can do it the regular way, and within probably 3 years you're going to have great soil. But it's much easier to do this and let it go from here, and in a year or two you're reaping better benefits. So as you can see, we're expanding, we're growing, everything's coming up. We are fighting a little bit of honeysuckle. We are fighting poison ivy this year. Just part of the game. A couple frosts to fight off, but overall we're pretty happy with where we're at. We got a lot more fruit trees that are starting to go. A lot of other things we'll be showing you in upcoming videos and talking about. But get out there and plant. If you live in an apartment, get some pots, put them out in your balcony. Get out and plant some food, guys. Go out and enjoy the outside. Let the sun hit you a little bit while you're digging up some rows. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. And if you don't like tilling like I don't, find a friend that does tree work, or find a place where you can get free wood chips or mulch. Mulch the ground, let it soften for you. Let nature do the work for you. But we appreciate you guys being here. If you're not already subscribed, please take a moment, hit that subscription button, hit the notification bell so you can see all of our upcoming videos. There's going to be a lot more coming. We got a bunch on compost, garden's starting to take off, and we got some killer recipes coming up too. We'll see you in the next one.